Just know, bro, I'm coming back. It's gonna be vicious. Like, you guys don't want to see that. You guys are weird, trying to troll me over a fight I didn't even care about. Did you guys watch the same fight? He dropped me and then nothing happened, bro. But just know, man, like, you guys are gonna get 100% of me. And I think Rolly knows. He knows for sure I'm coming hard. He knows I'm not about to play around. Ah, shit. If he don't know, he gonna know.
So it looks as though Ryan Garcia will be returning sooner than we think. There were rumors going around that he'd be out for another year, considering he had just gotten hand surgery. Nobody knew how long it would take for him to heal, but Ring Magazine just put out a post saying him and Rolly are in deep negotiations for their rematch being held in December, as well as Rolly putting out some training footage with the caption saying, "Staying sharp, guess who's next?" So it seems like this thing is pretty much a done deal, or at least close to it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too stoked about this being Ryan's comeback fight, especially after the first fight being so one-sided. I actually wanted someone like Isaac Cruz, who I think stylistically favors Ryan, because we've seen how Ryan handles pressure fighters like Oscar Duarte, Romero Duno. Plus, Cruz was the original opponent 4 times square, but ended up pulling out due to already having a fight lined up. He didn't want to get distracted, and I mean, that fight revealed a lot of holes in his game. And even his last fight, you see he gets tired in the later rounds, drops his hands, is very vulnerable to counter punches, which Ryan, great timing with the left hand. We saw versus Duarte, he was trying to come in, Ryan caught him clean on the temple, and yeah, I think Cruz probably would have met the same fate, and it would have looked good, because Cruz had never been dropped and just knocked out Rolly. So if he was to fight him instead of Rolly again and risk losing to the same guy, it would have looked better on his resume especially. But regardless, the rematch would have to happen anyway. That is a big stain on Ryan's record, and you could just tell how uncomfortable he is with it. He even cried right after the fight, whereas with Tank, it was like, you know, he held his head high, he was getting praise. But this was different. He was coming off the greatest performance of his career. You know, he gets hit with this Austrian theory, which he tested positive, but him and his fans said it was a setup, and he had to go out there and prove it. And the whole narrative coming out of it was, without Austrian, he's a bum, he sucks. And honestly, looking back at that Rolly fight, I think the biggest hit was the 1-year layoff for him and Devin, because I remember 4 years ago he had taken a year off due to his mental health. He had like 2 fights canceled against Javier Fortuna, Jojo Diaz, and he ended up getting back in there with a guy named Emmanuel to go, who nobody had ever heard of, and Ryan put on like one of the worst performances of his career. It was sloppy, footwork looked terrible, was pretty much chasing the guy the whole fight. It looked like Ramirez versus Haney, except, I mean, Ryan was trying, but he was so uncoordinated. Compared to his other fights, this didn't look even close to the same guy. He had won his last 3 fights prior to that by knockout, and within a 3-year period, this was the first fight that he had won all 12 rounds. Then he came back 4 months later and completely battered Javier Fortuna, knocked him down like 4 times. Some of the punches you couldn't even see through the naked eye. Top 3 best performances I've ever seen from Ryan, and the thing is that before the Emmanuel to go fight, he had surgery on his right hand, just like with this one. So I don't know if it's a recurring problem. I don't know how much of a role it played in the Rolly fight, but he's since gotten surgery. If he gives it the right amount of time to heal, then we could maybe see a completely different fight. Looking back at the first one, you see barely threw his right hand. He even said prior to that he was gonna knock Rolly out with the right hand. Really only saw him using his jab, and the thing is, Rolly's lead hand was down a majority of the fight. He could have capitalized on it, maybe hit him with the right, then find an opening for the left hook. That's usually how it goes, but he just never opened up. But either way, I do favor Rolly in the rematch. As of right now, you know, maybe if something comes out and Ryan can sway me, then we'll see what happens, but Ryan was way too hesitant after feeling Rolly's power. And yeah, it's been a couple months. Maybe he forgot the effect it had on him to where he's willing to get in there with him again. But, you know, once he gets hit with it, you really don't know if he's just going to go back to how he was then, or if he'll fight through it and be more willing to open up. They both know the power each guy possesses. That could lead to a lot of psychological, mental pressure, and a lot of overthinking, which clearly Ryan was going through. Even looking back at their spars from when they were younger, you could just see Rolly roughing him up. And just like with their fight, Ryan wasn't as willing to open up. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Let me know what you think down below. God bless, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.